Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bold and Beautiful podcast, where we are discussing all things bold and beautiful. I'm your host, Amanda, and I've decided to name this week's episode Not So Secret Admirer. Bill was definitely the inspiration for my title choice. Bill is making it quite obvious that he wants Brooke for himself, and in my opinion, this proves that Ridge loves her more. Because she's told Bill that she's happy with Ridge and that she loves him. And Bill is willing to destroy her whole life and break her heart because he's that selfish. He wants her for himself, regardless of what she wants. And I know Ridge would not do that to her. Ridge does do something this week that will prove my point. I apologize to everyone for the episode being a little bit later than usual. I've had a very busy week this week. Okay, guys, I do not have any news for this week, so that's enough of the chit chat. Let's get to the recap. So that brings us to Monday, October the 15th. The show opens at Forrester Creations in the executive office with Ridge and Brooke. And Ridge is asking Brooke, why were you and Bill having a secret meeting in my office? And before she can answer, he says, I thought I was living my happily ever after, but now I don't know where I stand with you. Then Brooke tells him that Bill stopped by to thank her for her support and to tell her that he got to spend time with Will. And he was very, very excited and he got carried away. And Ridge says, you know what? Steffi saw Bill here. So explain to me why you are making out with Bill Spencer in my office. So then Brooke admits that Bill kissed her, but that she did not kiss him back. And then she tells him that this is the second time it's happened, but she put a stop to it and she told Bill it better not happen again. Now we head over to Spencer Publications in Bill's office. Katie has brought Will by to spend some time with Bill and to see if Bill would help him with his homework, which of course made Bill very, very happy. It was sweet. And Katie's there watching them and she's feeling guilty because she's thinking about what Brooke told her about what Ridge did. And then it's time for Will to get picked up. One of his friend's parents picks him up to go to a haunted house, and Katie stays behind to talk to Bill. Katie assures Bill that she will not keep him from Will, that she will not stop him from seeing Will whenever he wants. But there are some ground rules. So Katie tells Bill if he follows the rules, he can see Will whenever he wants. Rule number 1 is that Bill cannot disappoint Will. He has to be dependable and do what he says he's going to do. And that is the main rule. And Bill agrees. He says that he agrees to everything she wants and any rules she wants is fine. He agrees. And he thanks Katie for changing her mind. And before Katie leaves, she thanks Bill for wanting to be Will's dad again. Now we head back over to Forrester Creations in the executive office with Ridge and Brooke. And Ridge has just told him everything. And Ridge is livid. He is livid that Brooke would let Bill put his hands on her. And that she didn't tell him. And Brooke says how sorry she is and that she's really, really sorry. And Ridge says, you know what? Are you sorry because you got caught? What exactly are you sorry for? And then I think this kind of catches Brooke a little bit off guard. And she brings up how disappointed she was in Ridge's behavior. What if the judge turned him in? He could have gone to prison. And then she tells Ridge that she did not tell Bill their secret, but she did tell Katie. And Ridge looks at her like she has lost her mind. He says, wow, really? I thought you were worried about me going to jail. And then he says, you know that she's going to tell Thorne. and we fight all the time. And Brooke is convinced and reassures him that there's no way Katie and Thorne would ever say anything. There's no way they would say anything. Then Ridge looks at Brooke and says, after all the things that Bill has done to hurt me and to hurt you, how could you defend him? And again, Brooke tries to defend Bill by saying, he didn't mean anything by it. He just got too excited, and Ridge loses it. And he just yells, bullshit. He has a power over you, and I'm tired of fighting it. So if you rather be with him than me, just go. You're free. And Ridge looks like he is about to burst into tears. This is the point I was telling you at the beginning of the podcast. He loves her so much that he's willing to let her go if that's what she wants, if that's what would make her happy. Ridge loves her more than Bill. Bill is willing to destroy her just so he can have her. I can't be on board with that. So Brooke is stunned, and she tells Ridge that she loves him and only him, and to please stop acting like this. She wants to be with him, and she begs, please, Ridge, give us a chance. We can work through this. Please, it's not over. So they're both in tears now, and that's how Monday ends. So that brings us into Tuesday, October the 16th. The show opens at Forrester Creations in the executive office with Ridge and Brooke, and we're picking up right where we left off yesterday. Brooke is begging Ridge to not let this ruin their marriage. She pleads with him to forgive her. She assures him that she was not turning to Bill, that it was not like that at all. And then Ridge says that it doesn't matter if it was any other man. He could see past it. But he just can't believe that she would risk everything for Bill. So Brooke continues to plead her case. She tells Ridge that she doesn't love Bill. She loves him. And when she said her vows, she meant them. And she begs Ridge not to turn away from her now. Meanwhile, downstairs in the showroom with Steffi and Hope, Steffi tells Hope that she is really upset because of Brooke. And Hope wants to know what the heck's going on. And at first, Steffi says, never mind, I shouldn't have said anything. And then Hope says, you know what? If it's about my mom, I want to know. So Steffi says fine, and she tells Hope what she walked in on earlier. And Hope is shocked. She cannot believe what Steffi is telling her. And they're both clearly upset. And Steffi tells Hope, you know what? I just don't know if my dad can get past it this time. Now we head over to Spencer Publications in Bill's office. Wyatt has stopped by to tell Bill about his new job. And Bill is not happy about this at all. He is pissed. He wants Wyatt to work with him at Spencer Publications. But finally, after a few minutes, Bill calms down and he tells Wyatt that he will accept his decision. Well, Wyatt is taken aback. And he says, excuse me, what? And clearly, Bill is trying to be a better father. So then Bill tells Wyatt about Katie's change of heart and how he can see Will whenever he wants now. Well, this makes Wyatt so happy, and they're both happy. And Bill explains that it's all because of Brooke. Brooke finally got through to Katie. And Wyatt tells him how happy he is for him and how this is so great. And then he has to take off because he has to get back to work. So Wyatt leaves. Bill's alone in his office and he's daydreaming about being with Brooke. This is not good. And by the way, wasn't Bill in love with Steffi like 2 or 3 weeks ago? Come on. Now we head back to Forrester Creations with Ridge and Brooke. And Brooke has just begged Ridge not to turn away from her. And Ridge explains that he knows Brooke loves him and he knows she's sorry and regrets what happened. but they both have to stop with the secrets because the secrets will destroy them. And Brooke agrees. And Ridge finally says that he has made mistakes too that almost destroyed them. And Brooke forgave him. So he can forgive her because she is his light. And then he tells her that it really scared him to think that someone might be able to take her away. Ridge tells Brooke that she can never let that happen again. He does not want Bill anywhere near her. And then he says, because I would not have the energy to forgive this. And Brooke says, okay. She totally understands. She will not let it happen ever again. And that's how Tuesday ends. That brings us into Wednesday, October the 17th. The show opens at Forrester Creations in the executive office with Hope and Brooke. And Hope is questioning Brooke. She wants to know if it's true. Did she actually kiss Bill? And Brooke answers, it's not what you think. And then she explains it to Hope, exactly what happened. Hope is shocked, and she wants to know why on earth Bill would think that that's okay. And again, Brooke starts making excuses. She claims he was so happy and thankful for her and for her help that he got carried away. And she assures Hope she has zero interest in Bill and zero feelings for him, and it will never happen again. As she's saying this, Ridge walks into the office and agrees with her. Of course she doesn't want Bill, she's with me. So Ridge tells Hope not to worry, that everything is fine. And he says, Hope, see how Bill is. He's trying to take advantage of your mother, but he will never change. And then Brooke assures Ridge that she will remind him tonight how much she loves him. And then she leaves to go to a lunch meeting. Ridge turns to Hope and he assures her not to worry, that they're okay. And Hope tells Ridge that for what it's worth, she knows that Brooke doesn't have feelings for Bill. And Ridge says, you know what, Hope? I believe you, and everything will be fine as long as she stays away from Spencer. Now we head over to Spencer Publications in Bill's office, and Bill is spending time with Will again. Will's spending the day with him, and he's teaching him all about business. Will asks Bill about the sword necklace, and Bill explains that it is a Spencer sword, and that one day when he's older, he will have one made for him. And Will tells Bill that he really loved spending the day with him, and that he wants to do it again soon. And Bill's about to leave his office to drive Will home. But before he leaves, he tells Allison to track Brooke down for him. Really? He is ridiculous. He's going to end up destroying her life and her marriage. He's being a stalker. Back at Forrester Creations in the side office with Katie and Thorne, Thorne is questioning Katie's decision about letting Bill have more time with Will and totally forgetting about the custody agreement. Katie explains that she is going to give Bill as much access to Will as he wants. And now Katie's getting frustrated at Thorne questioning her decision. He wants to know what on earth made her have a change of heart all of a sudden. And to my surprise, because I didn't think Katie was going to tell Thorne, at least not this soon, but to my surprise, Katie tells Thorne everything that Ridge did regarding the judge and everything that happened. And very surprisingly, Thorne says that he can't believe Ridge had it in him, and he's actually proud of him. Not the reaction Katie or any of us were expecting. Katie is shocked at Thorne's reaction, and I think a little mad too. Thorne tells Katie not to worry. No one will find out. But poor Katie feels guilty because they didn't win fair and square. And if Bill found out, she could lose Will. But Thorne assures her that she did nothing wrong and not to worry. Now we head over to Eric's house, and Quinn, Eric, Pam, and Charlie are having lunch together. And Pam is harassing Quinn about not knowing how to cook. And Charlie is something's up with Charlie. He's a nervous wreck. And he's trying to not be obvious, but it is obvious. So he goes to pour Quinn some more water, and he pours water all over the floor, all over the table. And I'm not sure, but I hope that everything's okay. So Pam asks him, what's going on with him? What's going on with him today? And he tells her that he's just a little clumsy. So then Charlie and Pam go to the kitchen to clean up and to check on her lemon bars. And Charlie is acting so weird. He's very nervous. And he wants to tell Pam that he loves her. So he does. And it's very sweet because he made this whole picture collage of the two of them, all these pictures of them together. So Pam pulls her lemon bars out of the oven, and Charlie sneaks in an engagement ring, and it makes like a lump in the bars. So Pam cuts the lump out, and she's about to throw it away, and Charlie says, oh no, don't waste it. And so she sticks the piece of lemon bar into Charlie's mouth, not realizing that it has an engagement ring in it. So Charlie takes the engagement ring out of his mouth and shows it to her, and she's in complete shock. She realizes what's going on, and she's shocked. Pam is so surprised, and Charlie is so sweet. He proposes to her officially, and Pam says, yes, 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 of course I will marry you. They were very cute. Now we head over to El Giardino, where Brooke is having her lunch meeting, and her meeting is wrapping up and is about to end, and the person that she's with thanks her and leaves. And guess who shows up? Bill. He walks to her table and he asks if he can sit down, and she says, no, you cannot. Actually, I'm leaving. And of course, he sits down anyway, because he never listens. And Brooke tells Bill that Ridge knows everything and that he's not happy. And then Bill goes into this whole speech of how much he loves her and how stupid he was to let her go, etc., etc. And she's clearly getting upset. Now we head back to Forrester Creations in the executive office, and Hope is gone, and Thorne walks in to talk to Ridge. He explains Katie's change of heart, which Ridge is disappointed about. And then Thorne tells Ridge that he knows what he did, and he wants to thank him for doing it, which surprises Ridge. And Ridge tells Thorne that Bill is done, and he wants him out of their lives for good. And that's how Wednesday ends. So that brings us into Thursday, October the 18th. The show opens at Forrester Creations in the executive office with Thorne and Ridge, and we're continuing their conversation from yesterday. Ridge wasn't sure how Thorne would react, but Thorne assures him that he's just thankful that Ridge would do that for them. And then Ridge says, you know what? I hate Spencer. I hate him so much. First he goes after my daughter, and now guess what he's up to. And Thorne says, what? Then Ridge explains everything that happened with Brooke and Bill, and how Bill's after Brooke. And Thorne is surprised and upset and all these things. And he asks Ridge, what are you going to do? And Ridge assures Thorne that Brooke will stay away from Spencer. And Thorne says, yeah, but will he stay away from her? And Ridge basically explains that he expects Brooke to call him if Bill shows up unannounced. Uh-oh. Now we head over to El Giardino's with Brooke and Bill. Bill is questioning how Brooke got Katie to change her mind. And then Bill admits to Brooke that he tracked her down there. It wasn't a coincidence. And Brooke gets upset about Bill's behavior towards her, especially, and just his behavior in general. Then she tells him that she did all of this for Will, and that all she did was tell Katie the truth. And Brooke says, look, I promised Ridge you would leave me alone. And then Bill starts laughing and says, why would you make a promise I can't keep? Now Brooke's mad. And she says, look, I am in love with my husband and I am happy. I helped you for Will, and that's it. And then she gets up and leaves. He just doesn't take a hint. It's not even a hint. She's straight out telling him. He just does not listen. It's infuriating. Now we head over to Eric's house, and Eric and Quinn are in the living room, and they're beginning to get a little worried about Pam and Charlie because they've been in the kitchen for so long. And they both also comment that they noticed Charlie seemed really nervous, more than usual. Meanwhile, in the kitchen, Charlie and Pam are just ecstatic. And I don't know if you're new to the show, Pam has never been married before. It's a long story. She gave up her life to take care of her mother. It's a long story, but she's never been married before. And she looks so happy. So they walk back out into the living room so they can tell Quinn and Eric that they are engaged. And of course, they're surprised and so happy for them. So they open some champagne and they have a toast. And Pam asks Eric if they could have the wedding at their house. And it's obvious that Quinn wants to say no, but Eric wants to say yes. So Quinn tries to talk them out of getting married there. And Eric finally says, okay, Pam, we would love to have your wedding here. We will make it a day you'll never forget. And Quinn is so mad, she's rolling her eyes. Now we head back to Forrester Creations and the executive office. Brooke has arrived back at work and Ridge is there. Ridge obviously can tell that she's upset and that something's wrong. So he asked, what's wrong? What happened? Brooke does the right thing and she tells Ridge the truth. She tells him what happened at the restaurant with Bill and how he just showed up uninvited and unannounced. And she doesn't even know how he knew she was there. Ridge is furious. He says that he has to find a way to stop Bill before it's too late. And this scares Brooke. And she says, Ridge, please. And she reassures him again that she only wants him and no one else. And that's how Thursday ends. So that brings us into Friday, October the 19th. The show opens at Forrester Creations in the executive office with Ridge and Brooke. Ridge is furious about Bill showing up at Brooke's meeting. And Brooke wants Ridge to calm down because when he gets like this, it scares her. And then Ridge looks at her and says, Bill is pursuing you and you want me to do nothing? Just be on the sidelines? Not in this lifetime. Ridge tells Brooke, I don't want him anywhere near you. Again, Brooke assures him that she told Bill exactly that. But she can't control him or keep him from just showing up. And Ridge says, don't worry, I will. Then Brooke starts defending Bill, which is a huge mistake because this makes Ridge even more angry. And Ridge says, why are you being so naive? Ridge feels that Brooke is being so naive and that she's falling for Bill's lines. And he begs her not to get sucked in by Bill. He's so upset and he says, I don't understand why you don't see this. Why can't you see what Bill is trying to do? Now we head downstairs to the showroom. Pam and Charlie are telling Liam, Hope, Thorne, and Steffi about their engagement. Pam is so proud and she's showing off her ring and everyone's going on and on about how gorgeous it is, which it is. And they're all so happy for Pam and Charlie. They are such a cute couple and they're lovey-dovey and they make Hope cry. And Hope says, don't worry, it's just the pregnancy hormones. And then Liam and Hope tell everyone that they need to go because they have a last-minute appointment with Dr. Phillips. And this worries Steffi a little bit, and she asks, is everything okay with the baby? And then Hope and Liam assure everyone that the baby's fine and that they are finding out the sex of the baby today, which is exciting. I can't wait until Monday to find out. Is it a boy? Is it a girl? Is it twins? I hope that it's a boy. So we'll see. Now we head to Spencer Publications in Bill's office. And Bill is explaining to Justin how Katie had a change of heart and that he thinks Thorne's influence on Katie is wearing off. But he assures Justin that he will make sure Thorne is not a problem. Justin is so happy for him, but he's also curious about what made Katie have such a change of heart so soon. Doesn't everyone want to know that? Justin expresses that it makes him nervous when Bill is this happy. And Bill laughs and he says that he got his son back and it's all thanks to Brooke. And then Bill tells Justin that he wants Brooke back for himself, but Ridge is an obstacle. And Justin looks at him and he says, yeah, being married, that's a problem. Now we head back to Forrester Creations upstairs in the side office with Steffi and Brooke. Steffi tells Brooke about Pam and Charlie's engagement, and of course Brooke's happy. And Steffi says that she wished Stephanie was there because she would have been so happy for her sister. And Brooke totally agrees that she also misses Stephanie and wishes she was there. And then Brooke tells Steffi that she needs to talk to her. First, she knows Steffi was just trying to protect her father, but she does not have to protect Ridge from her. And second, what she saw between her and Bill was not what she assumed it was at all. So Brooke explains her side of what happened and assures Steffi that it was all Bill. And she tells Steffi that she does not have feelings for Bill, that she only loves Ridge, and that he forgave her. And then she says the same thing that I told my husband. I don't know if y'all remember, but after Steffi saw Brooke and Bill kiss, she went in and talked to Brooke, but she didn't mention it or even ask her any questions. If Steffi would have asked Brooke, what the heck is going on? You have 2 minutes to tell me because I'm going to tell my dad. If she would have talked to her, Brooke could have explained. And then when Ridge did find out, or when Steffi did tell him, he would get the whole story and not be as hurt. That's exactly what Brooke says. So Brooke says that she really, really wishes that Steffi would have asked her or talked to her before she went to Ridge. And then Steffi assures her that she was not trying to hurt her and that she probably could have handled things differently. And then Brooke tells her thank you. And she says, Steffi, I'm really worried about Ridge because he is furious at Bill and he is scaring me. I'm very scared that he might explode. Across the hall, in the executive office, Pam comes into the office to tell Ridge her big news. And of course, like everyone, he's super happy for her. And then Thorne walks into the office, and Ridge asks Pam to find out where Bill Spencer is right now at this minute. So then Thorne is curious, and he says, what happened? Did something else happen? And Ridge says, something will happen if he doesn't stay away from my wife. I'll tell you that much. So then Ridge explains to Thorne about what Bill did today, showing up at Brooke's meeting. And Thorne tells Ridge that he totally doesn't agree with Katie's decision. And he doesn't like the fact that Bill is getting all access to Will. And then Pam comes in and tells Ridge that Bill went home for the day. And then Thorne turns to Ridge and says, so what are we going to do about it? Now we head over to Dr. Phillips' office. Hope and Liam are a little nervous because of what happened the last time they had an ultrasound, which gave me a heart attack. So Dr. Phillips comes in and they tell her that they're very excited to find out if it's a boy or girl. And even though they have had second thoughts about finding out, ultimately they've decided they want to know. And I can't wait to find out. Now we head over to Bill's house. Bill is drinking as usual. And there's a loud knock at the door. And guess who it is? It's Ridge and Thorne. Who, by the way, Bill opens the door and he calls them Needle and Thread. And then he says, oh, look, a walking sewing kit at his front door. Bill taunts them. He taunts them again by toasting Katie for changing her mind. And then he tells Thorne that he's just the Manny and not to forget it. So now Ridge is fuming, and Ridge tells Bill that he is using Brooke and it needs to stop. And Ridge says, I know what you want. You want my wife, but you're going to stay the hell away from her. Do you hear me? And Bill says, or what? And then Ridge and Thorne look at each other, and Ridge says, or I will put a stop to it once and for all. And that's how Friday ends. So I know what Ridge did with the judge was wrong. Okay, I know it was, and I get it. But Bill's behavior is just atrocious. First he goes after Steffi, and he claims he's so in love with her. And then when that doesn't work out, now he's going after Brooke. Again, newsflash, their relationships never work. I don't like them together, nor do I want them together. And Ridge really loves Brooke, and he's willing to do whatever he needs to do to keep her. I don't blame Ridge for the way he's acting. If a guy was going after me, I can pretty for sure say that my husband would have a large problem with that, a huge problem with that. So I don't think he's overreacting. I think he's absolutely right. I think Brooke is very naive. And if she's either lying to herself or she's secretly enjoying his interest in her, I'm not sure. I would like to think she's just very naive. So this week was crazy. And it's basically setting up next week, which I cannot wait. Because next week we're going to find out the sex of the baby. We are most likely going to see a big fight. Because I just can't see... Y'all know that Ridge punches people all the time. And so does Bill. So I'm sure that's going to turn into some kind of fight. I also saw that Quinn is going to have a little words with Pam over the wedding thing. Which I don't understand. I really don't. Like, what's the big deal? Let her have her wedding there. It was her sister's house for way longer than it was your house, Quinn. Alright, so that's it for this week. I would love to hear what you guys think. Your comments, your feedback, your predictions. Please get in touch with me at theboldandbeautifulpodcast.com. Also, follow me on all my socials. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I will put links in the show notes. I hope you guys have a great week. I will be back in your ears next week for sure. Until then, bye guys.